10:07, 7 minutes past 10, hour number 2 of the Bruce and Dan Show.
But it's Jake Hartford and John Cass filling in for them, and they're filling in for Don and Roma.
Yep.
So grab your wallet lately.
Oh, man. The Cook County Board, I think they're meeting today. Tony Preckwinkle, who is the county board president.
You know what I call her in the column? Ms. Sensible Shoes. Because she seems like a school marm. You know, she always has those sensible shoes on.
The county has, I wonder if I asked how many people how much the budget is for the county. I wonder how many people even know. It's $3 billion. We're not going to play that game. They have a $3 billion budget. Apparently, they have a shortfall of money. They need money. So they're going to increase a number of taxes. If you play golf on one of the Cook County golf courses, it's going to go up roughly $1 a round, I think, except for the George Dunn National, which is going to be $2. If you have a big picnic and you get a picnic permit, it's going to go up a couple bucks there. If you smoke cigarettes, $1 a pack. $1 a pack. And this is on top of the $1 a pack the governor added this earlier this year of $1 a pack. Taxes on a pack of cigarettes in Chicago, combined federal, state, and local taxes right now, before the new dollar goes into effect. You know how much it is, John?
Tell me.
$4.67 in Chicago, $3.99 in Cook County suburbs.
I almost feel
the county tax alone is $2, and that's before the new dollar.
I feel like we should find a guy with a truck. You know what I mean? Off the back of the truck thing, because that's what they're doing. Look, I have yet. Will we ever find a politician that doesn't tax and spend? How about stop spending, Tony? How about cutting the spending, firing a bunch of people? Why are you taxing people? We can't afford it. What is wrong with her? Miss Sensible Shoes? Are you kidding me?
They have that building, that office building they bought a few years ago, and they have a couple floors near the top. She's on one floor, I think her and just a handful of her people on her staff, and then they have an entire other floor that's empty that they can probably run out, and I think they've talked about renting it out. They can maybe make $1 million a year on that.
I'll tell you one way to save. Why don't you not? Tony Preckwinkle put a guy on the board recently. You know, they have all these boards and commissions that nobody knows about. Okay, so there's this a commission, a board. She hires this guy named John Bills.
Is he in relation to the guy who used to work for the city of Chicago?
It's the same guy.
The guy that used to see the red light camera system?
The guy who oversaw it. And what happened to him? He left, but before he left the city, he was the guest of the red light company at a hotel. They paid his $900 a day hotel?
Well, that probably includes room service.
Yeah, probably.
And maybe some of those movies at night.
And the nuts. You know, those nuts, the salted nuts? Well, anyway, Mr. Bills.
Mr. Cass. Yeah, I love your salted nuts.
Please don't go there. So then, Mr. Bills now leaves the city of Chicago. Rahm Emanuel, the Rahm father, wants to show that he's not taking any, playing any games.
Ethics violation.
Right. He announces it, and they get rid of this company, the red light company, which means to me that some other red light company is going to get it.
I can only hope there's another company standing by who can come in and do the job that this company is.
I guarantee you some of these, I'm sure this red light company, the one that doesn't have its fingerprints on Mr. Bill's scalp, will be involved. But anyway, they call the Tribune, David Kidwell, our fine reporter at the Tribune, found out that Mr. Bills is now working for the county. So he called Tony Preckwinkle. He's in a $34,000 job. He's got health care and all these other benefits.
That's 34,000 packs of cigarettes that need to be sold.
That's where we're
with the
going.
Increase.
So he's a Mike Madigan guy. And Tony Preckwinkle is so reformist, right? So she hires the Mike Madigan hack, and they call her, and Kidwell calls her. You know what Tony says? I don't think I want to talk about that today. That's what she says.
So what did she talk about? Anything?
I think she talked about taxes.
Wow.
I think she talked about hitting people with taxes, but that's 34,000 packs of cigarettes right there.
I feel bad for the people that smoke. Because...
Okay.
Well, I do, because...
I do too.
Because they're the ones who get hit with these taxes.
It's a legal product. Stupid, evil product.
Let's screw them. Let's make them pay more. More taxes.
How about this? What about she wants a 1.25% tax on anything you buy out of this, from outside the county. So if I'm a business, say I've got a business and I need to buy some computers. I go out of the state, online, I buy 10 computers.
Well, why don't you simplify it? So let's say you go into Will County. Because Cook County is from one end on the south up north, it's 50-some miles.
Right.
So you can be in the southern part of Cook County, be right across from Will.
Okay.
You can be north.
Go to
so
the
you're not doing online yet. Keep it simple. So you go to the Staples. Yeah, right across the street.
You got to pay 1.25% tax.
Now, how will they know this? How will she know this?
They'll know it if you're, again, going back to the complicated thing, if you're online and you do it, they're going to catch you.
Yeah, but if you walk across the street to the Staples or whatever store...
And you pay cash?
Or you charge it on your charge card, how will they know?
I don't know how they're going to enforce it. All I know is this.
Are they going to have a squad of maybe inspectors they'll have to hire to follow people from stores?
And one store is going to pay their hotel bill so the other, so they could attack the other store. It'll be nice. It'll be just like the red light camera. That she hired the guy and then said, I don't want to talk about this. Really, Tony? You don't want to talk about it, Tony Preckwinkle? Well, guess what? We're talking about the taxes that you're jamming up people's noses.
And they need people.
And I'm tired of it, Tony.
And they need people to buy cigarettes to collect the taxes, and they make it hard on people where they can smoke cigarettes.
And what about the, subtly trying to avoid the whole cigarette issue, John Cass? What about taxes on businesses and other taxes? In golf, I hate golf, but I don't want to punish the people. How about a forest preserve? Oh, can I just go have a picnic with my family? Now I got to pay more to Tony Preckwinkle so she could hire Mike Madigan's political hacks? Give me a break.
You know what is going to happen?
Call it the Tony tax.
If people can't buy cigarettes because the tax is so high, right now, as of today, in Chicago, and the mayor had a chance to raise cigarette taxes, and he didn't do it because I think he realized, it's already kind of high. But it's $4.67 today. If they get enough votes to pass this, it'll go up to $5.67 to buy in Chicago. Just the taxes, the federal, state, and local taxes. There will be some people who can't afford it. They'll have to quit.
That's good.
And I wonder at what point
I got to quit again.
Do we have the social justice that if you quit cigarettes, and maybe you quit a year ago, 2 years ago, you should be paying your fair share of taxes that you would have paid if you had continued smoking cigarettes. I think that's fair share.
Especially if you have a job.
That's social justice. 10:15. Time for traffic on the fives right now on 89 WLS.
She tastes like cigarettes.
10:16. Before we get to your calls at 591-8900, I want to remind you that the 89 WLS box office opens every Thursday, giving you a chance to win tickets to an upcoming show or event. Later today, we have your chance to win a pair of tickets to see an advanced screening of Cloud Atlas, starring Tom Hanks, Haley Berry, Hugh Grant, and Susan Sarandon. The screening is this Tuesday at the Showplace Icon Theater in Chicago. Should we get to the phones, John?
Yeah, because I want to hear how Tony Preckwinkle is going to pay for hiring Mike Madigan hacks with our taxes.
Don in Evanston. Good morning, Don. Welcome to the show.
Morning, guys. I was thinking, what if this goes, government uses taxes to sometimes curtail certain behavior that they don't like or they think they can capitalize on, smoking, alcohol, gambling, and such. What if this ultimately went to the possible end where people just can't afford it anymore and they just decide that they're going to quit? What is she going to do for revenue then?
Social justice. You pay your fair share of taxes that would have been collected if you had continued smoking cigarettes or gambling or whatever.
Why don't we have a politician tax where we tax them $1,000 a day for public service?
Don, I was just thinking about doing a column, and I kept my mouth shut when Jake said that. But then you had to go blow it and talk about it on the radio. But
and this is from the guy who likes The Good Wife, Don.
Yeah, because I learn a lot.
That's
okay?
John. That's John's feminine side.
There's binders full of women on The Good Wife. They're all lawyers. But Don, your idea of taxing the politicians, what if we tax them like Tony Preckwinkle, Miss Sensible Shoes taxing us for Mike Madigan's hacks? Why don't we tax them like the equal amount? So at 1.25% tax on something, we should tax their salary, 1.25 or $5 or whatever. Why don't we
Got
tax
it.
them the commensurate amount that they're taxing everybody else?
You mentioned that she was thinking about taxing purchases outside the county.
That's really bad for business.
Well, how could that be constitutional if I live outside the county and I'm getting taxed for purchases, or vice versa, if I have no say-so in my representation from a county that I don't live in?
Don't they have a county sales tax now, and they try to enforce it, don't they? I mean, I don't buy...
Well, that's like going to a restaurant, though, Don, and you get charged taxes. You know, if you're from out of town, you're paying the sales, the tax on the meal.
True.
Which is why many of us eat in the suburbs.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Wasn't there a practice in Chicago in the bad old days that if you got a job through your clout, your alderman or committeeman or whatever, he got you the public job, you kick some of that money back?
It depended on the job. You usually kick it back in the form of...
Sometimes it was just cash, though, right?
Sometimes it's cash.
Or tickets to fundraisers.
Or a lot of times it's tickets to fundraisers. I'm sure that no one would ever accuse Boss Madigan of doing that. But I'm sure that his daughter, Princess Lisa...
They still
Sorry.
do that? Politicians still do that?
You know Princess Lisa? She's the Attorney General. And Mike wants to make her governor. I'm sure that any of these Mike Madigan political hacks that work in this state probably donate to her. What do you think? Out of the goodness of their heart, and nobody forces them.
I know nothing about that. Tom and O'Hare. Good morning, Tom.
Jake and Mr. Cass, thanks a lot for coming on and opening this subject.
Thanks for calling me Mr. Cass.
Well, I sure do. I was one of the original Cass's crazies back in the 70s and 80s when you were just coming up. I was like one of you and a couple of your legmen. We were your audience back then.
Thanks,
You have newfound respect for him, don't you, since you found out he watches The Good Wife?
No, Jake, you're not going to get me off track, so I'm going to use my time real wisely.
Thanks, Jake.
Can we use this program to ask for Tony Preck's resignation? I can give you half a dozen guys she's fought with in state government who will take your show over. Okay? Senator Dan Duffy out to Barrington, he's an expert on red light cameras. He's been fighting it all along, and they've penalized him even down at the Springfield Capitol by moving his parking spot and others. But he's one guy you can go to on red lights. Tim Schneider, Cook County Assemblyman there out to the far east side, he's gone against Preckwinkle because they continually let these aggressive felons out of Cook, Kane, and DuPage County. And she came out for that, saying, no, we're not going to violate these rights of these poor people by even turning it over to ICE.
Yeah, but Tom, what about the poor people who smoke and can't afford it now?
Now, the smokers are another group. Then we got the rifle group. So I know I'm out of time. Please help us. You're not in Cook County. Help us national media.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks,
we
Tom.
got no TV people to talk about it.
Tom, thank you. I'm a hunter, and guess what? I know that the Second Amendment was not invented or created to protect hunters. It was protected so that Americans could resist their government, all right? And taxing the bullets is stupid, Tony, Miss Sensible Shoes.
It's only a nickel on a sale of every bullet.
Stunt. Cut the hacks. Why don't you go through and instead of saying, when David Kidwell from the Tribune calls today in today's paper and says, what about that Madigan hack you got on that you just hired? And she says, I don't think I want to talk about that today. Really, Tony?
That's Mr. Cass. I'm Jake. 1021 back after this.
89.